We have a lot of slides here, so I'm going to get us started. So on behalf of DPLA, welcome to this webinar. This is the fourth of our Wikipedia for Cultural Heritage webinar series, organized by the Digital Public Library of America's Wikimedia Working Group. My name is Dominic Burdick-Devitt, and I'm the Director of Community Engagement for DPLA. So just some initial housekeeping matters. This is a meeting in Zoom, not a webinar. So there'll be time at the end for discussion and you can come off mute if you would like. But also please feel free to use the chat for questions and comments throughout. The meeting's being recorded, but you will not be on the recording if you use the chat. And you'll find the recording posted to our YouTube channel in a few days, where you can also find a playlist of the webinar series so far. So I wanted to start today just by contextualizing the topic a little bit by way of introduction. So you've heard throughout the webinar series so far, if you've been attending, how DPLA operates a digital asset pipeline for our contributors to Wikimedia Commons. And I was just pulling stats myself for our reporting and therein communications, so I wanted to share. In the last year, DPLA's materials on Wikipedia have received 2.5 billion page views for our partners. Our images are used on around 50,000 pages, and these come from over 330 participating institutions. And we uploaded over 4 million files to Wikimedia Commons in the last year, which doubled our total presence. So you're going to learn more in a moment from our presenters about where those numbers come from and the tooling around these stats. But because the presentation is all about metrics, I just wanted to start there and unpack a little bit. DPLA's mission, which is reflected by similar language in all of our contributing institutions, is to maximize access to the nation's cultural heritage. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of the Wikimedia work. When I joined DPLA in 2020 to launch this project, it was to help with that access goal, but as an aggregator and a network of contributors, I've come to appreciate that all of our program activities are actually for dual purposes, because the other most important consideration is ROI. But we have to give our partners a reason to contribute at all. The content is not coming from DPLA directly. So these numbers for us are really important to report back to our funders, but also because being able to report solid numbers back to the contributors is what makes the work worth their time and allows us to continue to pitch participation in the pipeline and continue to grow the work and sign on new partners. Which is my segue to, we also want to thank the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation for providing support for DPLA's Wikimedia program, through which we not only built and maintain this digital asset pipeline, but also ourselves, DPLA, built a page view reporting tool, which you'll see later, and which has become a benefit for institutions around the world working on Wikipedia. So without further ado, I just want to introduce our speakers, who are all coming from DPLA's Wikimedia Working Group. First is the working group's chair, Jamie Flood, who's the scholarly communication librarian and assistant professor at Butler University. And also we have Christine Fernsebner Eslao, who's metadata technologies program manager for Harvard Library Information and Technical Services. And finally, Giovanna Fontenelle, who is a program officer for the Wikimedia Foundation's content enablement team. So welcome, Jamie.
Thanks, Dominic. I wanted to thank you and Christine and Giovanna again. This series has been really fun, but it has also required a lot of effort, and I really appreciate outside of our special guest speakers who I feel like we've given them more time to plan. Sometimes we waited until the last minute and had to like look at old YouTube videos to remember everything we've said on these topics before. So I really appreciate um, everyone's like last minute efforts with me to get these going. So we do have a lot of slides, but I'm really hopeful that we'll go fairly quickly through most of the ones that I'll actually be presenting you with. Um, at the end of this presentation is a slide that links to every single tool we talk about, and you'll be able to go to that slide and click through them. Every image in this presentation is either from the DPLA pipeline or is a screenshot that one of the three of us took, just to be clear and share the reuse value of all of these things. And I feel like every tool that we will share today has built somewhere on something else that we've talked about in the previous three sessions. And I also want to remind everyone that we have one more session in January, the second Thursday of the month. And I am really pleased to share that that will be basically like a case study of Minnesota talking about their starting their Wikipedia program and how that has been going for them. And so they're going to take almost everything that we've talked about in the last four sessions and show you it in action from the lens of DPLA contributors. So I hope that this series has been helpful. So I hopefully everyone knows this already, but all of your images live in a massive category on Wikimedia Commons called Media Contributed by the Digital Public Library of America. And if you go to that, you can all find your dedicated category to your hub name, and you can click through and find all those. You'll also, at the top, hopefully folks can see my cursor, you'll see this page use for this category, and if you click expand, it's going to show you this data. Very impressive. I'm going to rush past it because Giovanna's actually going to talk about this more in depth. Dominic can talk to you more about how it was developed at the end of our presentation. And if anyone is having trouble hearing me, please let me know. I feel like my little mic sensitivity doesn't look like it's working great. So why track? Why does it matter? Tracking creates a better picture of the impact of the pipeline uploads outside of our institutional page use. I'm going to show you different ways that you can track, hopefully, and just remind everyone, and hopefully we've made this clear throughout this series, you don't have to edit. We're mostly sharing this because it creates an opportunity for volunteers and students, for workers who have time. In I don't remember where in Ohio, but there was a librarian that dedicated 1 hour every single Friday to doing some Wikipedia work, and that returned millions of page views for them just from someone doing a little bit of work, minimal effort for maximum gain, if you will. And just as a reminder that we're here to help if you're interested in doing more pipeline uploads. If you do get interested in hosting like an editing event or something, I would be most happy to support you in that. I also know I have an email I need to respond to. I will be responding to it after this if you are the person that sent that to me. I try to be pretty quick with responses, but it doesn't always happen. Please know I'll get back to you. And so this is a tool that's actually, I don't know that it works anymore, or at the very least, it doesn't work well for DPLA anymore because the amount of media use has gotten so massive and it can't support it. I really just wanted to show you this to show you the impact of it. And just like 47,000 pages have been enhanced with items from uh, DPLA pipeline, and they are in use across language versions of Wikipedia. And that's the coolest thing that's one of the coolest things to me. Not only are you enhancing English Wikipedia, but editors around the world are using your images to illustrate different articles. It's in use on Wikidata. And I think the impact of that is amazing. Just to share like a personal impact story, I have uploaded a lot of the Smokey Bear images from from our collection into Wikimedia Commons. And one day we suddenly got literally hundreds of hits from our newspaper. We had set up like a newspaper alert. And what it was a journalist had found an image of Smokey Bear on Commons and adequately credited it and inspired hundreds of other news outlets to use the same or another image in the same collection, and all of them were quoting that it was from the National Agricultural Library. And so that is the impact here. And it takes your collections maybe from a very local viewership to a truly national and global viewership. So there's a couple different ways to kind of see how images are doing on um, a in an article, and then also to see how your category is doing. This is called mass views. I'm going to talk about both of them. They are through, hopefully it's obvious from the URL, they're through the same portal. With mass views, you'll actually paste in the category itself. I don't recommend pasting in the DPLA category, the big one, because it's too big. But if you wanted to paste in your hub category, you're going to get back a lot of really interesting views, and they're going to tell you you can set the date for however long you want to. If you want to look at the life of your hub or the life or however long you've been contributing, you can see over time the impact of your category. And it'll also show you what is in use and where, and you can compare with the page views and see if there's like a certain type of article where it's doing better, or maybe it gets more page views on Wikipedia than it does on Wikidata, and maybe you should put the same image on both or something like that. And then page views is actually targeted on the Wikipedia page itself. Um, and again, you can adjust the dates, and you can also look at different projects. So you can look at Wikipedia, or you could look at like Wikidata, you could look at Commons just to see um, where it's being looked at. For this one, I only put in a month-long date range, and it's really interesting to do like longer ones and see where the hits go up. A lot of times when an article is freshly written, it'll have very high view count. And then when an image is added, you'll see a spike in views. And then outside of that, you can map news mentions and things like that, because a lot of times with this article in particular, there was something posted in the news about it, and that's why on the 21st it had way more views than any other day. And so it's neat to kind of see that and be able to figure out when you might see some upticks in views. Especially notable anniversaries, you'll also see upticks every single year. And so it's cool to look across months and years just to do a comparison. I also wanted to show that when you're looking, if you say you're looking at an article and you're working on it and you just want to see what kind of pages you can get, you can click on that view history button in the right-hand corner. And one you can see, oops, sorry. One you can see, okay, what happened? Hold, please. Sorry about that. Why is this suddenly not working? Sorry. There we go. You can see everyone who's edited that page recently and what they've done. And then you can also look at the page statistics, which I'm going to show you more about that in just a second. And you can also click on page views, and it will take you to this page again, and you can look at them from within Wikipedia in the article itself. When you click on page views, like I said, it's going to show you this again. Like I said before, You can change the dates on it just to kind of see how things are changing. You can do different chart types depending upon, what you want to see or what you think visually looks best to share with whomever, put it in the report that you're writing, what have you. And then if you look at the page statistics, it's going to take you here and it'll show you things like what else is linked to it. So if it has a Wikidata ID item, you can go to that. Like I was saying earlier, if you notice that something maybe gets more views on one or the other, you could come here and you can double check the Wikidata item and see if it has the same image as the article. And if it doesn't, you can add it. It will tell you like how often it's edited throughout the year, month, or day, how many pages link to that page, how many redirects there are, if there are external links. And it just kind of gives you an overview of the health of the page. And it's good to look at just to kind of know. A lot of times when there's more time between edits, you can count on um, like administrators and stuff not spending a lot of time on that article and hopefully not having any kind of contentious editing because there isn't anyone watching it closely. Um, I only say that because this uh, sometimes when it's a really heavily edited article and it's happening consistently throughout um, the day, in particular, if there's a short time between edits, edits can get lost, things will get moved or reverted for one reason or another. And so it's always a little better when there's a longer time between edits. Next, I wanted to share Glamorous. Uh, there's now Glamorous 2. The last time we did a similar presentation, there wasn't the new functionality. So the URL has changed a little bit. And this is kind of similar to the earlier tool I was showing you where you put in the category and it will tell you like where it's used. This is just going to give you way more information. And so when you put in your category and then click run, it's going to show you all the files in use. It is going to rank them. So the one that has the most uses is going to be at the top and the least at the bottom. And then it will show you how many page views that image itself gets on average. That's what the page view count is for. And then it will also run through and show you all the versions of Wikipedia that this image is in use on. I do want to mention that page views on this tool in particular can get a little conflated because it'll just be if someone goes to the page that that image is on. So there's no guarantee that they actually looked at that image, but that's how often someone is going to the page that shows that image. And so that's how often someone might be seeing. I really like this tool. Again, this is another great way where if you have like a student worker or you have a volunteer, this is a good way to track their work with your images, as you can also search by user and it will show you all the images that they've added. It will give you a date and you can see like where the image is in use, how many page views it's gotten, stuff like that. So that's a good way to run a report for like a volunteer that you have when you're coming up with reporting about how the project is going or when you want to share impact. And then there's also Glamorgan, which is similar. It'll show you the number of pages that include file from a specific Commons category. The nice thing is this is human views only, so it will filter out bot views. And it's only about the article's namespace. So it's looking just at the article where that image is held. It's not looking at anything else. It does take a minute sometimes to run, but it's worth the wait to me. Again, you'll paste in the name of your Commons category, and usually when you are typing it in, you'll see a bar that will let you know that you have the correct one. Like you can click it as you're typing it in if it pops up. And then again, this one is weighted, and the This Walt Crowley illustration for 2001 A Space Odyssey has the most views in this category. And again, it will tell you what pages it is used on, and then it also breaks down the views per page, which is pretty nice. I know here at Butler, there's a lot around international impact, and so like in our IR, they care about like how often people outside the US are looking at our stuff, and we can and that's the nice thing about this tool. If you have a similar goal, you can look at all of this and share like, okay, it's also on these other pages, it gets this many views. So it's a really cool breakdown, and I like how this one also breaks down the views so you can tell which article actually is having the most impact. And then this is for folks that are interested in either documenting like volunteer or student work or having a event. Um, I'll show you both. So when you log into the outreach dashboard, this is what your page might look like, or if you don't have any programs, you won't see anything. It's very easy. If I click on one of these programs, and of course this is like, I need to move the bar. It doesn't say. I think that, oh, this is right there. Sorry. So this is our impact from our Arab American authors, Every Book Its Reader, which was just like a 1 hour Wiki Wednesday thing that we did. And the article created, I think, was a Wikidata item, just to be clear. But among 4 editors, we made 47 total edits across 11 articles. So we were really busy in an hour. And it was really fun. It was cool to talk about um, different authors. We kind of focused particularly on authors from Indiana and books that were coming out in Indiana, or books that were coming out from authors in Indiana. Um, and this is just another way that I have always tracked impact of events. And a lot of times I will screenshot and cut out this top part or this whole thing, and I'll include that in my reporting. And like I said, this one thing to note is sometimes the article created, it's not a Wikipedia article, it's a Wikidata item, which is what happened here. Um, but you can tell it where all you want to track. If you'll look down here with me under the details section, I'm tracking English Wikipedia and I'm tracking Wikidata because I knew we would be editing both. And so I can ensure that folks know that. You can add multiple facilitators. You'll see another one in just a moment where there's 2 of us facilitating, or more, and then you can tie it to your institution. And then you can also create a campaign where you track all of your events together, and it will pull all that data together. And then you can also still separate it out, which again is nice when you're reporting at the end of the year. And then, okay. And then there's also the event metrics dashboard. This one is a little easier to navigate, in my opinion. And you can see that I have 2 main programs that I work with. One is our Central Indiana Wikipedia Partnership, and then one is National Agricultural Library. This number is very off. It was when I was like first starting to play with this dashboard just to see how it worked. Um, and again, I would like I clicked on the Central Indiana Wikipedia Partnership. I can add multiple organizers. So these are our 4 main, oops, these are our 4 main organizers of our user group in this partnership. And then I have each of our events here. It tells us how many participants there were, who was a new editor. That means they started their account that day. And then who has continued, of these new editors, who has continued to edit since that time, which is really helpful if you ever want to talk about retention, which when we're on Wikipedia, we really care about that. And then it'll show you number of pages that were created, how many were improved, if you uploaded any files. And then you can even click deeper and click on the event itself. And it will, again, give you this huge breakdown where we'll show you all the pages created, all the ones approved, how many edits in total, and then how many times that page has been viewed since it was created, and how many daily average views to the pages approved. And then again, it'll break down your participants, your new editors, and your retention. Again, I would just do, I'm saying again a lot. Uh, I would screenshot this and include it in a report with a little more of a narrative about the event and what it was for. And then I always would try to get like comments from the participants that I could include in that as well about the impact for them and their interest in Wikipedia. Oops. Okay. Why did I not put a title on this? Hold on. I'm so sorry. I don't know why it keeps doing this. Okay. I'm gonna do a live demo really quick because that's easier. Can everyone still see my screen? Okay, great. So I've talked a lot about editing. This is a tool that Dominic and I and our friend Kevin Payravi worked on a few years ago. Yes, it won an award. I love telling everyone that it's a really cool tool and that is certified with this tool award. But the cool thing about View It is it makes it really easy to add images to an article. You do have to add it to your account. And if you're interested in adding it, you just scroll down to the script installation section and we make it very easy for you. You copy the code, you go and click on this, and it will take you to um, your personal JSON file, and you will edit it and paste it in. And then once you save it, you can refresh and it'll work across all versions of Wikipedia, including this one. Um, maybe not this one. Don't listen to that part. Anyway, sorry. So this is what View It looks like in practice. You'll have a button on your, once you add it, you'll have this button that says View. If you don't like having this carousel of images up all the time, you can click Close View It. Um, Ellen was a botanical illustrator for USDA. I have collected a lot of these images of her from her family. But this is the carousel of images. If there is more, so like, let's go. If there is more than just the single line, sorry, my internet's being slow. You will have these little blue boxes and you can expand them down. You can page through everything that's there. And then the great thing is if you click the edit button and you're like, oh, I want to add this picture. This article is just semi-protected because people have probably come in and added inappropriate information or they've added contentious things that don't have enough notable sources about them. And so that's why it's protected. Uh, I can just click this copy button and then come down here and paste it in. And it's there. And if I want to, I can click in the box and I can write my own caption and then I save it and it's there. Additionally, I think this is better. Yeah. Additionally, it works on Wikidata as well, if that's the thing you're interested in, which I get it. Um, And so you can just, again, click the copy button and paste it into your statement. Or if that person doesn't or thing doesn't have a P18 image statement, it will have a copy button and it will have an add P18 statement. And so if you click the plus sign, it will open this banner just to make sure that you want to add this image, and you'll click OK, and then it will automatically add the statement for you. And view it, last we checked, which I think this is a little outdated, view it's been used has added over 600 P18 statements to Wikidata. And lots of people are using it. It's also been localized into over 20 different languages. And it's just a really great tool if you just want an easy way to add pictures, because we know that adding images is really important, especially to this one. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing and pass it to Christine.
Great. I am going to start sharing from my computer. Um, can everybody see my slide full screen? Awesome. Great. So, hi, I'm Christine Fernsebner Eslao, and I'm showing a couple of tools that I've used mostly in Wikidata editathons and other collaborative editing efforts, in addition to some of the other tools that Jamie just showed us. So, regardless of how thorough your documentation or instructions are, Wikidata items that result from a crowdsourcing event or a collaborative workflow are going to vary in quality and consistency, and these tools can help you to identify where to follow up or where to focus your next efforts. Um, and I'm going to share this first one in the chat just so you have the link. Oops, going back. Sorry. Um, so the first one I wanted to talk about was Item Quality Evaluator. It evaluates items that are in a list, which is either a list of known Wikidata QIDs that you might already have from like a spreadsheet or from your record tracking, or it could also be a list generated to meet your needs as expressed in the form of a Sparkle query. This doesn't have to be complex. You can just use something very simple like on focus list of or has works in the collection. I'm gonna switch browser windows so I can give you a live demo. Oops, I keep going to the wrong slide. Okay, so the example that I've got here is that over the course of a couple of years, we did a few Wikidata editathons at Harvard about the Black Teacher Archive, which is a collection of digitized resources about Black teachers and their organizations in the 20th century. It's related to a digital collection that has scans of publications from these organizations. It's really cool. And so, in order to evaluate the items that were in Wikidata that were related to this, we used the item quality evaluator. And so, as you can see here, we're using a Sparkle query rather than an item list. You can just plop in QIDs here, but you can also create a Sparkle query. In this case, we're using list of Wikimedia project as the one property that we're filtering by, and we're filtering by its inclusion in this. I don't know why the mouse over isn't showing up, but oh yeah, there it is. The Black Teacher Archive Wikidata project QID. And so when we hit the button, it shows us a list and a some overall scores. And so I won't go into the weeds of the criteria that this tool uses to generate a numerical score, but it's between 1 and 5. And it's my understanding that the number and type of statements matter, as do references. It can't evaluate the quality of the reference sources or the accuracy of statements. So in a lot of ways, you can think of it as producing more of a measure of robustness than quality or completeness. Um, and the output, as you can see here, is a simple table of labels, links, and numerical scores, as well as an average score across the entire set. By default, it shows you your items in ascending order of quality. So the lowest quality items are on the top, which is demoralizing, but then you could sort it so that it goes the other way. Um, and which feels nicer. So the highest rank items are typically items that have existed for a while. This is from an editathon from like a while ago, so a lot of these have been improved. And the longer the items have existed, often it's like the more it's been incrementally improved by humans and or bots. So this looks like a low score, but this is actually really exciting to see for me because last time I looked at this, the overall score was 2.18. So this is actually increased by 0.55 points since last time I looked at it, which was right after the editathon. And some of the top scored items have changed. It's not a surprise that someone as famous as Mary McLeod Bethune or Booker T. Washington would have high quality items. But we've actually got a number of people in here who are like important activists who were previously under described in Wikidata. So that's super cool. There's no way of sharing this results page directly with your collaborators, but you can download a CSV. I'm going back to the slides to show that. You can download a CSV and share it with your collaborators, but it's not like going to be updated live. Um, and the next tool that I would like to share with you is integrality, which I will paste that into the chat as well. Um, Here we go. Uh, I have no idea why there are two A's in integrality, and if somebody knows this secret, please tell me. But anyway, there's two A's in there. Always trips me up. This tool takes more effort to set up, but it generates more customized and granular output than the item quality evaluator. It's also something that can be shared persistently on a wiki project page, so that your collaborators can look at it and see it updated as it changes. So rather than scoring the overall robustness of a set of items and ranking those items, integrality provides an overview of the inclusion of specific properties across subsets of items. So you kind of have to like know your content and know what you care about. Um, so because you're defining the criteria yourself. It's a good way to see whether specific data points are thinner. For example, actually, we're not at that yet. Okay, so for example, in our Black teacher archive set, it might show us that we're missing headquarters locations for organizations, such that in a future event, we might want to go out of our way to line up resources for that kind of research. So it's great as a collaboration tool because it can point editors to items that need specific kinds of improvement. The display can be continuously updated and embedded in a wiki project page. Um, it relies heavily on color coding. You may or may not like that. It works for me, and there are some people who find it visually overwhelming, or if you have different perceptions of color, maybe it doesn't work as well. That may be an accessibility issue. So it functions as a sort of infographic about progress. This example came from a page about museums. I did not create this one. So you can see properties listed across the top row and then groupings by country in this column. And you can see robust areas coded in like ever deeper shades of blue, and then the thinner areas of data in ever sicklier shades of green. Like, for example, coordinates are very well represented for museums in all of the countries that we have on screen here, but the date that the museum officially opened across these sets is much thinner. Um, so I'm going to switch to the live version of this page again. Thank you for your patience. Um, and so one of the cool things about this is you can zoom in on a subset of items. So if we go to one of these sickly green things and we say like, yeah, only 4 point, actually no, let's say 2.56% of museums in Wikidata in Brazil have a date of official opening in their descriptions, and we can click on that. And it gives you a couple of options here that are like a little bit opaque, but what I've used in the past is clicking on the Wikidata query service button for all items without the property set, which is weirdly named, but it's basically saying, you clicked on a thing about museums and their official opening dates. If you click on all items without the property set, it's going to show you all the items that don't have that property asserted on it. and it's going to generate a Sparkle query, which is a little more complex than is easy to actually build in the query helper yourself. Obviously, if you're great at Sparkle, maybe you don't need this, but most casual users are not great at Sparkle. So you can run that query, and it takes a second usually, but it generates a list of museums, and then you can go into these and edit them with to remediate the data as you see fit. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to my slides again and um, oh, and I think that's the end of my slides. Oh, yeah, I think the one thing that I forgot to show was that I think I mentioned it takes a little bit more setup. And so having a little bit of Sparkle know-how helps you to generate the selector query, and you kind of have to know your data well enough to know which properties you want to include there, so you can see all these P numbers here, and how you want them to be grouped, which requires another set of P numbers. So it's a little bit more advanced than the item quality evaluator, but it's also really powerful. So I'm going to stop sharing and hand it off to Giovanna.
Thank you. Can you see my slides? Can you confirm? Yes, thank you. It is for me so nice to be just after Christine in integrality because I think this is one of my favorite tools out there. I love using it. Um, and yeah, now I'll be talking a little bit about Commons Impact Metrics, which is this API that we help to develop in the Wikimedia Foundation. And as context, just again, I'm Giovanna Fontenelle and I work for the content enablement team at the Wikimedia Foundation. And this team used to be called Cultural Heritage, and even before that, it was the GLAM Galleries, Libraries, Archives, and Museums team. But today we are content enablement. And the time that we were Cultural Heritage, we uh, helped to build this metrics API for Wikimedia Commons. And this is what I want to talk to you about today. Okay. And so Common Impact Metrics is a data project offering monthly data dumps and a Wikimedia Analytics API for Wikimedia Commons categories of images relating to cultural heritage. As I said, this was a collaboration between our team, Cultural Heritage, and at the time also data products team. This team also changed names. This is something that happens sometimes in the foundation, which is a little bit confusing even for us, but yeah, at the time it was data products. And this was, well, to develop this API, it took us kind of a little bit of a long road. We have been having, conversations with the communities about how they needed better support for metrics and also better support for tools related to GLAM content, to cultural heritage content. And in the kind of addressing tools, we worked a lot with OpenRefine as well in the past, and also we helped to fund the GLAM CSI project, which is a contributed study to understand how institutions were contributing to our projects and how to make sure that the tooling was in fact being looked at by the foundation, and it was a project funded by us and executed by the Smithsonian last year. And the other part of this work was related to metrics, and it was related to this specific API, right? And the road that kind of led us to this place to developing this was some kind of conversations that we had with the communities talking about tools and metrics, and those are kind of listed here. I'm not sure if we are, I mean, I'm okay with that if we are sharing slides, but maybe like we can, and then people can find the links if they want to for those discussions that are here, right? But also You can also find those topics in the pages out there in the projects kind of really easily as well, on Commons or on MetaWiki. But we can also kind of share the links if necessary here with you. And the goals that we had for this was to create something that would be more reliable, less complex, more stable, at scale, and well documented. And so for the first goal, more reliable, this was now a metrics API that was maintained by 2 teams, a set of dumps and 14 API endpoints. It was also less complex, which means that it was pre-computed data, not raw data. Also more stable, so depth of 7 subcategories. So for example, if you add the category for your institution and you have several subcategories for that one category, and the images are kind of inside of those categories, we can reach up to 7 subcategories. And at scale, so categories with up to 1 million files, and also well documented, that's documented by the 2 teams that developed this as well, right, and are maintaining it. So this was also like the goals were, we were responding to the necessities that we saw from the Wikimedia communities, the cultural heritage community that we have, right? Some important considerations for this is that it offers only monthly granularity, and it uses page views and not media requests. That is a difference between those two kind of metrics. The media request is only like when someone clicks specifically in an image and requests that image, right? Page views is the views that an article gets, and if your image is there, it kind of gets that view as well, right? And also, as I said before, raw data, not raw data, it's raw. There is a raw data like in a list, but it's being presented for you kind of in a kind of particular way that you'll see in a little bit. And it's also category-based snapshots. And those categories must be added prior to the inclusion in the system, right? So I will also explain how that happens. And so this is just a screenshot from the allow list that we call it allow list, is the list of categories that are already in the system. I forgot now, but from my previous presentation, I said the number, and I wish that I had put here on my notes, but we have like thousands of categories there, which is basically like measuring almost all of commons at this point because of the subcategory system. So it's a very complete list. And this is a little bit how it looks like. Like, for example, here is the get number of media requests for a file. And here is this big link is actually the one that you use to access Commons Impact Metrics. There is a short link there. And I will also show you now the, can you see the Commons Impact Metrics now? Yes, okay, thank you. So here is the page. This is also called Commons Analytics. You can use the name that you prefer, of course. We have been saying more Commons Impact Metrics. And so the first one that I wanted to show you is already here. So I wanted to show you how to get the time series of edit counts for a given category. And I already selected the category for the PLA, so media contributed by the Digital Public Library of America. And you necessarily need to add the category with the underscore here. Sorry, I always forget the name of this thing in English. English is not my
You're
first
right.
language.
Underscore's correct.
Underscore. Yes, thank you so much. And after that, you can also choose the category scope. So here you can choose shallow or deep. So like more categories, right? The subcategories. So I'm just gonna use shallow because this is a quite large category already. And here I'm gonna choose the edit type. So in this case, I'm gonna choose update. I could also choose create. So the edit is by like its categoristic is that it is creating a new article, right? All edited types, right? You can also choose that one. And after that, you can choose a specific time period. So here, let's choose this year instead. And let's do also maybe April from the 1st of April 2025 to also 1st of July 2025. And let's see if it will show us some metrics. So yeah, so here you can see everything like the name of the category, shallow, the edit type update, and the start and the end point. And you get here, so for April, this was the edit count for this particular category. And also here in May and in June, right? And also something else that you can do is, let's do here, get time series of page counts for a given category, which is here. And it is the same thing. And I will use another category from Boston Public Library. And I'm also gonna choose shallow because I don't want to like break it. Not that we will break it, but just like it's just easier for the demo here. And also let's just use a similar period here for 2025. And then you can see here the results. So in April, the page view count for that particular category was this number here, 600,000, around 600,000. And then for May and for June, right? And also July, I added one month this time. And now I want to show you one more. Oops, sorry. Just and I'm also going to use the media contributed by the Boston Public Library. Also, I'm going to choose shallow here. I'm going to choose, let's see, all wikis if it will work properly, and it will not take forever. And the month of May as well. Then you can see here, this is the results, the page view count, the image that is kind of the one with more views is this one, and you can go ahead and check on Commons which picture is that one. Let's find out together. And it is this one. This is the image that in May 2025 from the Boston Public Library received more views, right? And there are several other different things that you can try here. So you can, as you can see here, get ranking of most edit categories, most page views, categories with most page views, wikis with most page views for a given category, etc., etc. A get time series of media file metrics, series of page view counts for a given media file. So you can do a lot. So as you can see, this is like there is some raw data, but it's also kind of in a way that you can understand, right? And because of that, so here are some other links that you can use to navigate the Common Impact Metrics universe at this point. And I'm gonna also share with you the actual links. And because of that, because the way that we kind of developed this, the first tool that we have here is, it was created by Dominic, who is here. And it is dynamic collapsible sections with Commons Impact Metrics API data. And here, for example, we're showing the media from the Digital Public Library of America from 2023 to 2024, like this nice graphic. And also the same for Museo Nacional de Historia Natural de Uruguay. And also we closed Africa 2023. And we also have a second tool, which was created by Thiago Lubiano, Wikimedia residents from the Biodiversity Heritage Library, which is called Commons Impact Metrics Dashboard. And it also shows the page view. This tool is so nice as well. It shows like different kind of data. I'm not gonna demo it because we don't have time, but I wish that I could, because it shows like in a very nice graphic as well, and the different types of like possibilities that you saw me showing there on Common Impact Metrics. It offers you different kind of visualizations for those fields, right? Those specific metrics that you are requesting. And the third tool, which was created by Dominic as well, is views from category. And this is kind of the page, the documentation page for it. It is on, I think, yeah, Commons. And it's basically a template that people can use. So the user can apply the template views from category to their own category. And then the DPLA bot goes there and handles the request. And then the Wikimedia Foundation, me, adds the category to the new categories to the allow list. And the data is updated monthly when ready. At the end of the month, for then the list to be updated at the beginning of the following month, and then you get, the data from the previous month, right? And the template displays data in a table and a chart. And of course, it utilizes tabular data on Commons. And right now we have 628 participant categories, and it is growing every month. And here is a little bit of like how that appears on Commons. So this is a category on Commons, and you can see how the template will show you like the difference between one edit and the other. And once like the person adds that, right, the bot will add that this is a category requested for Commons Impact Metrics. And then this will appear listed as a category requested for Commons Impact Metrics. And then this is where I will go and check all of those that are there and add them to the allow list that we have for Commons Impact Metrics. And this is how it will look like in your Commons category. And then you expand this little box there, and it shows you the metrics, right? So you have by month, and you have by year as well, and also the total files and the total views from those files, right? It's really nice. Dominic did an amazing job with this. And it also shows you like the same thing in a graphic, right? Along like with time, right? And that's it. And what is next for Commons Impact Metrics? A training via WikLearn, and it's coming soon. I'm actually starting to work on this now. So if you want to like learn something specific about Commons Impact Metrics, tips on how to demonstrate impact and best results for your institution, please tell me. I'm eager to understand that and to make sure that is included in my training. So what do you want to learn? What types of tips you want to see? And what do you expect to demonstrate via your data from your institution? Okay. And I think this is the last slide. And I kind of ran a little bit here in the
It
end.
is the last slide.
Great. Well, thank you. We're a little bit over time, so I know Jamie, that was a very full, rich presentation. Jamie asked in the chat if anyone had any comments, and I think, or questions. I think the only one was already answered. So I'm gonna call it there, and just remind everyone there's one more webinar in this series next month. If you go to events.dp.la, that's the best way to get to the registration page for that. And please look on our YouTube channel for the videos once we publish the recording. Thank you so much, everyone.